How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Sergeant Rock vs. the Army of the Dead, issue number 5 of 6. So yeah, this is the second to last issue, the penultimate issue, the one right before the finale. And overall, as always, a pretty fun book. By now, 5 of 6, we know what to expect. Some cheesy World War II over-the-top zombie action. And it delivers everything it says on the can. And that is a fun book. You know, it is, I find with this issue, the episodic thing was a little bit forced in. I thought at the end of issue 4, when they spotted the compound, they would just rush right in and we'd get a little bit of a connection. But apparently they just wanted to know where it was at exactly, because in this issue they went back to their base, planned a mission out, and decided to paratroop in, which, okay, I guess you're having more resources than just Rock running in there by himself. But, you know, they also would have had more time to plan, and I would think the doctor, I don't know, blowing their car off the side of the road, you think they would probably move the base pretty quick, unless they just amounted it to nothing. I don't know. But needless to say, this does turn into a whole separate mission rather than just a continuation. But the paratrooping sequence was really fun, having to paratroop into an urban area, trying not to impale yourself on anything, and then of course the fun breaking into the bunker sequence. And we can tell from this cover, which is a portrait cover of zombie Hitler just going nuts, yeah, the ending to this book is pretty crazy. Now that being said, I would have preferred if it was absolutely insane, but maybe that's coming next time, I don't know. I won't do any major spoilers, but I will say the book does end on a pretty intense cliffhanger, and I wonder, you know, because we're going so far, I mean, breaking into the bunker issue 5, I do wonder what issue 6 has in hold for us, how much of it will be a wrap-up, or if something absolutely insane is going to happen that turns into a bigger epic final battle. Don't know, but that's part of the fun about thinking about the final issue and what it has in store. But yeah, big cliffhanger for us this time around. Can't wait to see how this book ends. So yeah, as always, it's a little bit predictable and not super deep, but it is fun and cheesy, and hey, what more could you really want? Anyway, if you guys want to see a little bit more for this comic, I'm going to switch to the close-up camera. I'll show you guys a little bit more of the story, a little bit more of the art, but I won't be doing any major spoilers. But just if you guys want a little bit more of a taste, I'm going to go ahead and switch to the close-up camera. Alright, here we are inside the castle, taking a closer look at Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead. Let's go ahead and pull it a little closer to the camera. The Sergeant Rock logo, white with the glowing effect, which is always cool. DC Horror with its double knives. You know, their logo is double knives. I really wish they would do a straight-up slasher comic. That would be fun. Batman versus Jason? I don't know. Anyway, DC 5 of 6. Really am glad they went ahead and told us how many issues are going to be in this book. I always prefer to know the numbers ahead. $3.99, ages 17 plus. Yeah, I'll point out something about the rating in a second. And then we get 00511, 5th issue, first printing and cover. If we crack the book open, we get the title of this issue, Wanted, Hitler, Dead or Alive. Once again, we're written by horror legend, Evil Dead star Bruce Campbell, with art by Eduardo Risso. And I should also mention Kristen Rosie doing the colors. I perhaps don't say it enough, but I really do like this book's colors, relatively flat, but still good, because a lot of times colorists get all obsessed with like tiny little details, but getting the colors right and having a good contrast. I'll point out the colors more in the parachuting scene. But anyway, without further ado, let's talk a little bit about the comic. So, no major spoilers, but let's take a little look inside. Anyway, we get Hitler talking to his doctor about how he needs more energy and needs to feel the power, and Hitler and Ava go to greet the troops, and it is kind of funny, Hitler calls Adolf Dolphy, which maybe she did in real life, I don't know, but we get a bunch of the Nazis, and they talk about the fatherland. So, a little prologue segment there, and then like I said earlier, they're back at the base, and they have a plan. I do love little maps and schematics, so always cool to see that. And they send an Easy Company. Now, you know how I mentioned the rating a second ago? Because Sarge lost his Zippo, one of his friends gives him a gift from the company, an Easy Company lighter with F Nazis written across the front. Not censored, actually get the F-bomb here. A lot of DC, what they've been doing lately is doing that little, where they put in a bunch of symbols where a swear word should be so the characters still swear, it's just censored. But no, here's an uncensored F-bomb, and we actually do get one of the characters saying it again later. But anyway, I talked about the color, a really good contrast between the inside and the outside of the ship, the reds and purples. This book just has this sort of, it is flat and muted, but in kind of a good way. But the characters paratroop down, and like I said earlier, it's an urban setting, so you do have to be careful not to hit a building. And we get a gag where a character hits a giant banner and has to use a knife to slow his descent, and that will rip the swastika in half. Now, I do want to say I kind of wish... I don't want to complain about art too often. It is very hard to get 22 pages up, but I kind of wish we saw more of the aftermath. Like, if we pushed all these panels to the side and the big one, rather than being the banner in a solid state, was with the symbol ripped in half and that was a bigger splash, I just kind of wish we got that instead. But that being said, I don't want to complain about art too much, because it is, big and blocky, and it really does work with this, kind of comic booky gruff style the book goes for, and I really do like it. It's just every now and then I get a few panels that I wish were arranged a little different, or things made a bigger splash in some way, but again, not to complain too much, and to emphasize the landing on an urban environment, there's a bunch of sharp stuff they have to miss, and this guy hits a statue on his way down, and there's another F-bomb for you there. But anyway, they all land, and it is, again, an absolute war zone with bombers flying overhead to distract them, and we get a bunch of Sarge's musings about war. It's mostly a game of logistics. Whoever gets from point A to point B first usually wins, and talking about how a lot of the branches of government don't talk to each other, but every now and then they manage to all come together in a glorious moment of planning, and how it's kind of like football, and you gotta plan, and I really do like how Sarge will talk about these things and muse about them. It's pretty cool. But of course, Nazi zombie action, they're coming out and they have a tendency to laugh, and then we get, and this is where I'll leave you, but of course more stuff does happen. Sarge blows his way into the bunker with some of his team. They go down there and down the corridor in the bunker where they suspect Hitler to be. They hear a bunch of Nazi zombies just laughing away. That's pretty cool. There's also an ad for Batman and Catwoman. I have picked up this hardcover. I haven't read it yet. I got a whole bunch of Batman hardcovers. Barnes & Noble had a sale right after Christmas. That's one of them, and I need to read it. If you guys read it, let me know if it's good, because it looks good. Anyway, so that was Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead, number 5, and I really can't wait to see how this ends. I am hoping for big over-the-top insanity. The book knows what it is, a somewhat cheesy action. I mean, it's a Nazi zombie book, you know? Might as well just embrace the camp, the cheese, and each issue finding a few different little gags to do. And overall, not the deepest book, but still something to have some fun with. And I think, you know, for someone who didn't really know too much about the character going in, primarily bought it to see what Bruce was up to, I had a pretty fun time. So definitely would recommend it if you are into more that cheesy factor, and I hope it sticks the landing. I think it probably will, but definitely had fun with this book. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead playlist. If you guys want to see all my reviews from the beginning, you should be able to find those in there. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now, guys.